Oh, hell yeah. What? Well, almost like we need Toothless Stone Cold. We need Toothless Stone Cold
You
to
need Toothless Stone Cold to get this thing rocking here this morning? Oh, hell yeah.
Toothless Stone Cold. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Carl. You got
It's
some
a
coffee
it's a
there in your
beautiful
cup, don't you?
it's a beautiful day. Haven't seen you in a while. I've missed you. Hope you're doing
Yeah, I've
well.
been MIA, Shad.
That's good. That's good. Well, hey guys, welcome to Talking Shop. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate all the support live on Triller Plus, live on the Roku channel, live on our YouTube. You can find the boys all over the world right now as we are independently just going on an independent wrestling tour for the ages.
Good Brother World Tour, baby.
Yeah, an unexpected independent wrestling tour that we are on. Not quite sure this was what I had on the bingo card in 2025.
You're having a great time.
But I'm having a great time, and I don't even reluctantly say that. I'm just saying it. But guys, I'm more excited. Welcome to Talking Shop. Machine Gun here. We got the big LG with me as always. Little Toothless Stone Cold to start us off in the morning. And if you don't laugh at Toothless Stone Cold, you don't even like life. But I want to welcome to the shop. This is a Talking Shop debut.
Yep.
A Talking Shop debut. Ladies and gentlemen, QT Marshall.
Wow, thanks. That was a great introduction. I appreciate it.
And if we can
Also,
just get it's real quick, QT. I'm cutting you off before
Cut
you
him
even
off
get started.
immediately. Immediate cutoff.
Hey, QT, how you doing? Anyways, hey, listen, here, let me tell you something.
Let me tell you a story about my life.
QT, welcome to the shop. Anyways, you know what I'm doing. No, but if we could just have Fink from Heaven come down and introduce the great QT.
Ladies and gentlemen, the most interesting man in professional wrestling. He wears many hats and one of the greatest promoters in the Southeast. He is QT Marshall.
Thank you,
Man,
Fink.
that was good.
Stone Cold, the Fink from Heaven. What a morning.
What a morning.
Yeah. This is
QT,
a
okay,
great
thank you,
surprise.
QT.
Yeah, great surprise. First of all, before we even start, that Hasbro figure in the background, I'm so jealous. This guy made me a custom figure, and that's the body I wanted him to use. And instead, yeah, I mean,
The clothesline where you pull
the clothesline
back, the wind-up
gimmick,
clothesline.
he
The
he
Macho
gave me
King. The Macho King.
yeah, he gave me the Macho Man. And,
I feel
I always thought I was a little bigger than the Macho Man, but maybe I'm wrong,
As Hasbro kids, it's important,
Yeah.
what your pose is and what your move is, 100%.
Yeah, big time, big time.
I'm a
Hasbro.
snake bod.
Yeah, I'm a Hasbro guy too. That's what I grew up on with, obviously the big rubber dolls. And then when I was I can't remember the age I was at, but it was, let's just say 13 or 14 or 15. I went to a baseball tournament and I came back and my mom had sold all of my big rubber guys at the yard sale.
That's a vicious move. That's a vicious
And I said, Mother, you can't do that. And I even in high school, I knew that ninth grade or 10th, whatever it was, that was wrong. And she goes,
Yeah.
they just were sitting there,
Someone made out like a bandit that day.
right?
Oh yeah, that's how those
$2, $1 here.
Oh,
She sold Andre for $3. He's a little bigger.
she just wanted them gone. I saw that. I don't remember who gave me that. Who gave me that, Gallows? Do we know? Do you know the guy, QT?
Is it from a guy from Australia? Because that's or New Zealand who made mine.
I haven't been to Australia in a couple of years, but it was a fan that gave this to me recently.
Oh no, that was the guy. I know exactly who gave you that.
Well, I don't remember it.
We were at Rev Pro. Was it Rev Pro? No, we were in Paris. We were in Paris, France with Fourth Rope.
Mm-hmm.
The show was over and the fans are kind of lingering around. And the guy comes up. The reason I remember this is he hands yours to you. And I go, wow, that's really cool. And he goes, don't worry, LG, I have one for you. And as he handed me mine, my legs fell off. And I went up fucking course. I mean, thanks, dude.
Yeah, they made mine look like Frankie the Mobster. You know him from up in Quebec.
Yeah. You got 6% body fat. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. QT, thank you for coming in, brother. I don't know if you remember this, but now that I know you and I've seen your rise and I know how aware you are, and you're obviously a smart guy, I'm sure you remember this now, but I wasn't sure if you did, but I'm sure that you do. I remember meeting at Ring of Honor. I was a New Japan Pro Wrestling guy. I took one of my very first bookings ever at Ring of Honor, and I like almost this was 2012, I believe, and I was kayfabing New Japan, which this is like I know internet was still like something, but it was like you could get away with little things.
You could get away with a little more in 2012 for sure.
And just think about this: I kayfabingly I did one of Ring of Honor's biggest shows in Hammerstein Ballroom. And the TV tapings after, and I believe the thing of
Manhattan Center.
Yes, the Manhattan Center. I did that without clearing it with New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Really?
Completely. And I wasn't worried and I wasn't concerned about it, but I also am still not 100% sure if I was allowed to do it. And I never got any issue. I never heard anything about it. But then again, everyone that it's 2025 now. It's very different. Even though it sounds crazy, but 2012, you could do little weird things like that and kind of sneak away. But that would have been one of the times I believe we met at the Manhattan, I think.
Yeah, baby blue trunks you were wearing. I remember everything. You know? I just remember baby blue. I was like, oh, wow, okay. This guy, he's confident. You know,
those are G1 finalist trunks, if I remember correctly.
It's a light color. You know?
Yeah. I was confident. All right, my confidence has done great things and bad things for the old machine gun. I believe at times.
It's funny you say that because in 2013 I wrestled for NXT while I was under Ring of Honor contract. And
kayfabingly,
I tried to, and then I immediately got a text message on a taped show before I even got changed, and it was like, "Are you doing something you're not supposed to be doing right now?" And I was like, "Well, I asked for my release already, so I guess we can both see the writing on the wall."
Here we are.
Wow.
Here
so
we
like,
are,
because I was always in Japan at that time, and always, and so. I would be there for 6 weeks or whatever it was. And then when I would come home, people would ask me to do little bookings here and there. And I was only home for, 6 or 7 days at eight days at a time. And, and half of that was jet lag. And the thought of going and wrestling in wrestling was just, it couldn't have imagined it. And so, but I really wanted to do Ring of Honor at that time. I believe Delirious reached out and asked me to do a couple of those tapings. I ended up doing a couple of through that year, but that was it. That was that for me. That was cool because 2002, 3, 4, Ring of Honor didn't want me. And then I went to New Japan and I did what I did. And then, I get a random email from someone and then they want me to come. I get a random email from Hunter from Delirious. And wants me to come work the Hammerstein Ballroom. And I was like, yeah, this is one I think I'm going to take,
Right. Yeah. You made him jealous. That's what you're supposed to do.
QT. Bro, so what are you up to right now? I mean, I want our Talking Shop fan. I know you got so much, and I know it's a very broad statement. But let's
compartmentalize it for a little bit. You got the hat on. You can see it there for our visual, our viewers here. One FW
is my wife's hat.
One Fall Wrestling. It's QT's wife's hat. You got a lovely wife. We met her at the Cairo shop. I have to say right now, you're a man of many hats, including the one that you're wearing. But One Fall Wrestling, one of the things that impressed me so much about you is you sat here and told me in my own dining room, I'm going to do this no matter what anybody says. But I have never seen, and it's almost not even independent.
Hold on, Gallows. I don't think you said it that way. I think you said,
I think I did.
No, he did.
But it wasn't in that context.
He did. This is, but I'm getting to I'm long-windedly, kayfabingly getting to my point here. I have never seen somebody go, hey, I'm going to start a promotion. And you hear it all the time. You go, great. And then every time I get an updated look at the schedule that One Fall Wrestling has, I am amazed. Talk about that. Talk about the number of events you're doing here in the great state of Georgia. Talk about the new television deal, Peachtree TV. We see one of the podfathers, Conrad Thompson, is involved. What's the vision? Where are you going? And how the hell did you put together this schedule?
Okay, so when I first moved to Georgia in 2017, I didn't think I was ever going to get a job in wrestling again. I had broke my neck, had neck surgery. I thought I was done wrestling, and I was coaching at the Monster Factory in New Jersey. And obviously I couldn't open a school in New Jersey because one is expensive. Two, I'd run against, one of my good friends, Danny Cage. So we had an opportunity to move to Georgia. We did. I wrestled a couple independent shows down here, and I kind of saw that the talent could use some coaching.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is what I want to do. And if I have my own little show, I always say if I made 30, 40 grand a year, I'd be very happy. If I made 30, 40 grand a year now, I'd probably want to,
I would say you've highly exceeded the 30, 40
yeah.
mark,
Well,
Brandon.
fortunately,
Yeah.
not in the independent world.
You probably
but,
exceed that monthly.
Well, that's
We don't wanna
great
give too
because
much away here, buddy.
That's great because 30, 40 grand is more than Gallows and I make now. So there you go.
I
Enjoy
don't
it.
know about that, but
yeah. So, well, I did a pilot in December of 2017, and I sent it to Dave Marquez because he was talking about trying to do a championship wrestling from Atlanta. And I was like, oh, that's perfect. I could probably do this, and so on and so forth. But then AEW took off. So obviously I put a little bit of that stuff on the back burner. And then when I left AEW at the end of 2023, one of the reasons I left was because I wanted to wrestle, but I also wanted to do something fun, do something that I could kind of be in control of. So I was like, all right, let's figure out what we could do. So I talked to Cody, I talked to his sister, and we reopened Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling, which was obviously their dads and stuff. And that was pretty cool we did a pilot, but then I went back to AEW. So when I went back to AEW, it was like, all right, we already announced this tour. Let's just do like a relaunch tour and just see how it goes and stuff. And it went really well. And while I was doing that, I met this guy, Scott, who he ran a show out of a brewery up in Athens. The problem was his show was named after the brewery. So when he started getting all these other inquiries to run shows, he didn't have a name. So I talked to him. I said, well, what if we called it TCW, and we partnered up, and you handle all the getting the buildings, and you do all the work, and I take all the credit. And he was super cool about it. And then when we decided to rebrand back into One Fall, because it was mine, I already had the assets, plus with the AEW connection and TCW, it was just a little weird. We didn't want to go too crazy. So I was like, well, this is easy. We'll just go right back to One Fall. And I just told him, I said, listen, we have all of these guys that need a lot of work. Plus, I love to work. Just book as many shows as you possibly can. And I think he didn't realize I was, just saying that. He just went out and booked so many shows. He's got so many connections up north. So all these shows are like 2 hours from my house. They're not, and it's all back roads, and there's no service on the way there. So I can't talk to anyone on the phone. And, but no, it's great. I mean, like I said, I think it really helps out in these kids that, that are either former students or, even the ones that are like brand new that they're learning from Cody, because I don't teach at the school anymore, but they come and they set up, and we have like our own little unofficial developmental territory, whether we're developing for AEW or wherever they go.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of fun. And, they all work hard. They set up the ring, they break it down, they set up the LED screen. That was one of the things I really wanted to do. Fortunately, I'm in the position that, I make okay money. So I'm able to put back into what we do. And that was one of the things I always wanted, was to kind of separate from all the other wrestling shows that were in the area and give the fans just an experience more than anything, right? Because wrestling is wrestling. They're going to get to see it. They're going to, watch as much wrestling as they want. But when they come to our show, it's like, let's try to give them an experience so they want to come back. And it's been going well. And then I'm stuck with this building in McDonough that used to be the school. Like Luke, we talked about it and trying to figure out what to do with this thing. Do we make it an event space? And then finally I just said, you know what, I'm just going to go all in on it. And we built a studio, we put the light rig up, and so we just did our first set of tapings. We had a big show. Let me go back. We went to Center Stage.
Yep.
And that was my way of saying thank you to these kids, because one, they work every weekend. No one's making money. We're all just having fun. But it was like, there's got to be something at the end of the tunnel for these guys. Every now and then they get booked for AEW, which is great as well.
Yep.
But they might go out there and get killed in a minute, right?
Right.
And as fun as that is, it's not as fun as getting to perform and be you. And
Absolutely.
so we booked center stage, spent a lot of money on that. But when I realized that we had it, I said, you know what? Let's go all in on this, and then let's do a production out of it. Let's get the content. And I was like, when I found out about the TV stuff, I was like, okay, well, obviously no one's going to be paying us to be on TV. But if I can barter and I can get sponsorships and so on and so forth, and we have some great partners, Dalton Carpet One,
Yep.
JR from Dalton Carpet, he's incredible. I mean, he really is. He just has really helped us out a lot, and Athens Ford as well. But long story short, we're in a very good position that we're able to run as many shows as we possibly can due to the connections that I have with AEW, with Muhammad, who does our graphics, who also does AEW's graphics. And
Yeah.
a lot of these guys have pictures from AEW. So we're able to have really nice photos of everybody. And, and Tony's awesome when it comes to, me using the talent, and especially because a lot of them are my students anyway.
Yeah.
And just being able to throw surprises out there. Like at center stage, we had Harley Cameron show up, Darby show up, and just give
right?
what's that now?
MJF was there for some
MJF,
occasion,
yeah,
right?
he did me a huge favor.
Yeah.
I was in his wedding,
Huge.
so it was finally about time I pulled the favor card from him.
I love it.
But yeah, it was just, and I tried not to advertise everybody because for two reasons. One, again, give those fans something that they're not expecting.
Right.
I'm always a big believer of like under promising and over delivering. Right. I just feel like as a wrestling fan myself, when you got that surprise, you felt that was for you, only you. It wasn't for the promoter, and all these things. And also because nobody's making phenomenal money, I feel that I shouldn't be trying to make money off of you if you're not going to get it in exchange. Right. It's just the way I've thought. And, and I think it's working out, financially, we're still in a hole, but it's okay. It'll all pay off.
It's a building phase.
And Conrad, I had that idea because originally we spoke about maybe putting the show on his YouTube channel, on his Patreon or something like that, and just trying to figure out a way to work together. I met Conrad a long time ago and we've always gotten along, and, he was always a fan of my work, which, even if he's not, he told me he was, so that felt good.
That's all that matters to us as wrestlers. If you say
that's
fan of us,
all I care
well, this
about.
guy's great. I love this guy.
He's the best,
Yeah.
And I know he talks about wrestling all the time. So when I asked him about doing commentary and he told me he didn't think he could do it, I was like, what do you mean? You talk about wrestling all the time?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, but I've never done this. I was like, don't worry about it. Just, when something happens, relate it to a wrestling story that you like, or don't worry about it, dude. Just be on the show, And
you use the word, I don't mean to cut you off as Carl did in the very beginning here, but you use the word experience. And I want to touch on that and what I've seen being around you, being around One Fall, what you guys have done. You're our Lariato Pro heavyweight champion, but you use the word experience. That's something for wrestling fans, hopefully listening everywhere, but the ones that are here in Georgia specifically, if you show up to these One Fall shows, you really truly never know who's going to show up. You could be at a brewery on a Thursday night and Billy Gunn walks out because of the connections you have, or you see up and coming AEW stars like Satnam Singh, or I saw you guys in Jefferson, Georgia. You have Double J, Jeff Jarrett there. You have QT Marshall there. So you have these young up and coming stars who are the stars of the future. But if you're a fan and you grab a ticket to the brewery, you don't know who's walking through that curtain. And I think that's an awesome thing. Just for the wrestling fans around here, I know that if a teenage me would be seeking out these shows in the hopes that maybe I get, a Billy Gunn match or I get a QT appearance or something like that. And I think that makes it really unique and really special. And it touches on the surprise element that you added as well. But I just think we need to press that for the fans. And how do you get tickets to One Fall Wrestling if you are in the Georgia, greater Atlanta area?
Yeah, Scott and his wife built a phenomenal looking website. It's onefwlive.com.
Great.
They're really good about that stuff. Like I said, I mean, they're on it. We all are attached to this Facebook, the Facebook page as moderators, and I see the messages come in nonstop, and they're right away answering everybody, and they're so good about
That's great.
with their Southern hospitality, the way they speak to fans and, even the difficult ones, but they're really good about it. And again, it's it's helped me out a lot because with AEW, I'm extremely busy. But at the same time, I know if I can't be at a show or I just have to show up and wrestle and leave, like everything's already taken care of. And like I said, it's literally like, we joke about the factory, right? Originally the Power Factory, then the Nightmare Factory. Now there's no factory as a school, but the show is its own little factory. I mean, everyone has their own thing that they do. This guy sets up the screen with this guy. This guy does the boards. This guy does the skirts, and it works out. And again, hopefully for these guys, it can turn into something real. And with the TV show, it's the same thing, right? Some of the guys, like one of the guys is a great wrestler on the local shows, and I made him a referee. And I told him, like, for right now, you're going to be a referee. I want you to learn this because deep down, I believe that might be the best future for him when it comes to making real money. But at the same time, I don't want to ever, tell someone that they're not going to be able to do something, because who would have thought, besides me, that I would have been able to do the stuff I was able to do, right?
That's any of us. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and it's just like, guys, one of the things I think more than anything is there's trust. There's trust that I'm going to put them in the right spots. I'm going to help develop them the right way. And then hopefully I'm going to give them opportunities. And that was always my thing. When I went to training at Bubba and Devon's, they taught me so much. And they did actually get me opportunities here and there, but it wasn't part of the promise that you paid for.
Right.
And that was one of the things when I opened the school was like, okay, I can't go around and tell everyone I'm a great teacher, but what I can do is I can teach these guys, and then I can get them so many opportunities that they're going to have no choice but to either one, succeed, or two, talk about how good this is and all this other stuff. And again, I just think when I was younger and I was selfish, it didn't really pay off as well as it could have. And then once I started helping everybody, it was like, man, now it's all coming back. So
cup runneth over. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. So, it's going well. Like I said, we're doing all these shows, and I try to wrestle as much as I can. Last week we were in Gainesville, and I wrestled twice. I wrestled right before the intermission. They beat me down. Billy Gunn came running out, surprisingly. And then we made the main event. I try to make them more like house shows, just have fun.
Yeah.
And again, just like that. We could have advertised Billy, maybe sold it a lot more tickets. Instead, it was like, let's just not tell him this time. And, I also don't want to ruin the allure of having these guys there, right?
Yeah.
And taking advantage of that and just make everyone think it's, hey, you have to go see this person. No, I want you to just go and have a good time for 2 hours. And that's the other thing. We're in and out in 2 hours. I mean, we started at 7 and we're done at 9.
That is just such a high ranking thing in the mentality of the Good Brothers as we go around the country and the world. Some of these 4 and 5 hour shows, my God.
It's the worst. It's the worst.
You got to be kidding me. I mean,
yeah. And we run a lot of Fridays, and I know as someone that used to work a real job, you're up at 6 a.m.
Right.
And then by the time you get out of work, you take your kids to the wrestling show. The last thing you want to do is go home at midnight.
Right.
no.
You know what I mean? You'll never come back. So,
Never come back.
Well, it can't go past 10 p.m. I'm hard on that. In my humble fatherly opinion, I'm telling you,
Right.
when it starts to creep past 10 p.m., we watched it on Saturday. We were in Lewistown, Pennsylvania.
Yep.
This sweet lady named Kathy was helping us run our table.
Yes, she was.
And she was all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. She was having a great time. We came back at intermission, and I just saw a couple yawns.
You can see the energy. The energy was starting to die out.
And I saw the face change. I was like, Kathy, you good? She goes, I'm good. I'm just really tired.
And how was she after the main event when we, for the third time, went back to our table? She was.
I said, anyways, Kathy, you're gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right here in about hopefully 45 minutes when at the end. She's like, oh yeah, it's just been a long day. I've been working. Yes, so I mean that it's true. We watched it in real time. She was pumped at 7. At mid show, she was starting to wind down, and she was finished by the end.
Yeah.
It's like I said, I think if you overstay your welcome, you'll kill the town, and what's one of the other things I really tried to look at was what areas used to have wrestling.
Yep.
That like, okay, so we did Gainesville. We started in July. I missed the first 2 shows due to AEW traveling and stuff. The third time I was there, one of your friends showed up and he just hung out and watched the show, and he sat in the crowd actually for the entire show. But the one thing that happened that night is at the end of the show, we got so many of the fans, and the building only holds 100 people. That's the other thing too. Like, I'm not one of those people that like we need to draw X amount because luckily we have a low overhead. And two, it's not about that. It's literally it's about getting the guys as many reps as they possibly can.
Being in a live audience is so crucial at that
Crucial.
stage. And that's why the you and the schedule are so impressive to me, because it's not like these guys are wrestling twice a month. I mean, they're out there.
Oh, if it was up to me, they'd be wrestling 5 nights a week.
Right.
And we might get
I
to
think
that.
that's awesome. Yeah, and if anybody will
great.
get to that, it's probably going to be
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
That's
trying to
what's
brand, I'm trying to brand everything. Like we have our Monday Mayhem show,
Right.
which is once a month, but now it's going to turn to twice a month. Hopefully we can do every Monday. I don't want these guys to have to go to a school and train, unless they're brand new, or unless they want to go and practice a move or something like that. But ideally you need to you need to get out there. You need to wrestle as much as you possibly can, see what works, what doesn't work. And then hopefully
Get comfortable.
Right. And then a lot of the stuff we're doing now is I'm trying to build, because normally I didn't do any storylines or anything. It was just wrestling. Hey, come watch wrestling. And we would do the storylines on the show to build to the main event and so on and so forth. But now I'm trying to get these guys comfortable with each other. So when we do the TV taping, they can just go back and, do that match, but cut out stuff and so on and so forth. Just like the business model was for years.
Recycle the business model. That's exactly what I was going to say. We'd go out on the weekend and we'd try everything out on the house show, and then you get to TV, and then hopefully by that point you have something that really works. And I mean, that model worked for years. We've questioned probably on the air and off the air, like especially on the WWE side of things, how it will look 4, 5, 6, 10 years from now without having that kind of practice as the live events.
Right.
Out. So having a system where you can exist in that world, I think is a tremendous help for any aspiring pro wrestlers out there. Try to get linked up with these guys, get to Georgia, get to One Fall Wrestling. If there's any way to squeak your way in there, it's probably your best.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, it's hard. Because I'm loyal more than anything. And also like, I just don't want people to think that this is a major money production, because it's cost me a lot of money, but it's not coming back. So
it will, though. We talked about that.
It will. Yes. And, but like I said, it's more about the guys that have been loyal to me and girls of really trying to help them out. And I think we had a big meeting about it, and it was like, this is what I'm looking for. Also, if you guys get booked elsewhere, go. Like, I want you to go make as much money as you possibly can. This show will always be here. We have 50 people at every show, and I try to get every single person on. That's the other thing. Like, our pre-show starts at 6:45. We'll do 2 matches before 7, and it's like 5-on-5 or an 8-way scramble.
However we can get you out there.
Yeah, like if you show up to a show, like you're going to get used no matter what, because at the end of the day, it's for you guys, right? And again, it's for me too, deep down. But at the same time, it's like, well, it has to be give and take. And you guys are putting your bodies on the line, and I'm putting my money on the line. So let's make it work,
That's such a good thing too, because I remember, just 23 short years ago when Machine Gun and I stepped into the business. But it was a small-minded concept for a lot of these independent promoters. You would go different places, and they'd say, well, if you work on my show, you can't go here and work on this other show. You can't.
The worst.
And I would go to those promoters and humbly at 18 or whatever say that I can't do that. These other guys might be able to, but I can't do that because I'm trying to make it.
Right.
So you have to let them spread their wings and fly, which is a great philosophy. But I mean, that feeds into the fact that you work for one of the biggest wrestling companies in the entire world. And you know that you need to have a broader base, and you need to go and experience these new things, and you need to travel and do all that. So I think that's a great attribute as well. And for people who don't know, go ahead.
No, yeah, I wasn't allowed to. And when I started in Cincinnati for 4 years, I wasn't. Now I don't want Roger or have students at Rogers.
We love you, Roger.
At Rogers Place in the NWF to go run to Roger and Stooge and say that Chad said that you didn't allow him to work other places. It was 20 years ago. Let's forget about it. Sure. But Roger wanted you to be an NWF guy, and you're an NWF guy in Cincinnati, and that's it. Now, he did allow me to go work places, other places around. But if I wanted to work for the HWA, which was another big one in Cincinnati, I wasn't allowed to just go do that. He would have been really pissed off, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but I think the things have changed. I went to Southern California. I moved to Southern California in 2006, and I saw the SoCal Indies, which was a whole other whole other insanity.
Back in politics.
Yeah. And then seeing the SoCal heat and the NorCal heat, there's nothing
yeah.
like that, brother. It was funny.
Tons of hatred.
It was incredible. But these guys worked every single place all over the place. And I do believe that Roger taught me a lot, being loyal to one place and learning storyline stuff and learning maybe promo stuff on how to, really truly learn storylines and booking and all that stuff by being with one place. But I do believe you got to be in front of people, and it's because it is different when you're working in front of a crowd that knows you well or knows your story or knows your character, against when you're working just a random show and you're trying to come out and they don't know who you are, and you're trying to be a heel or a baby face, and you're trying to get them going. So I see both sides, I guess. Right.
Yeah. And I mean, again, I think if you're the champion and you're going to go lose in 2 minutes right down the street from where you are, it's a little bit different. But even then it's like, hey, that's on you to talk to the promoter, and you have to do good business for yourself. But yeah, again, like I said, I tell them to go out and try to get as many bookings as they can, but because our schedule is so busy, and then a lot of them, by the time they realize, okay, if I drive to Nashville and I make $50, I'm spending $100.
Right.
I'm getting in a ring with someone that I don't really, that I don't really know.
Yeah.
For a promoter that doesn't really care for me,
right,
or whatever. Maybe they do, but they, and one of the things I tell our kids, like, especially the ones that are like right on the cusp of probably getting to the next level, just tell me if there's someone you really want to work with, because I can probably reach out to them and get them here. And if I fly them in on my miles, or I can do it there's
a way to do it.
There's a way to do it where you can do it at our show, and I can, help you guys put the match together and help you learn, as opposed to just go into some random place and so on and so forth. But like I said, loyalty to me goes a very long way. But at the same time, as the promoter, as the coach, I have to do something for them, or else, that loyalty is only going to last for so long. Because I remember how I was when I was loyal to people that, you didn't really get it back in return.
No, it's true though. I remember when we left New Japan in 2015, somebody was like, you left New Japan Pro Wrestling, and I got a lot of heat for that. I remember when we first left, and I just remember thinking it was like we needed all of us. It was me, AJ, and Gallows at the time. We just were asking for a certain kind of contract, or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. I said, "Listen, with Tom Brady, thought he deserved a certain amount of money. He's not going to not sign somewhere because he thinks he deserves something. I feel like the loyalty's got to go both ways, and I know what you mean by the loyalty, right? 100%.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, and especially if you can go make it elsewhere, what I mean? Like, and it's on them, right? They have to understand.
I didn't make that point very well, but I'm trying to make the point. I think you guys understood.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is a job, right? This is to make money,
business.
It's like, and if you're happy, because at the end of the day, if you're not happy, you're not going to give your best to other people. You know what I mean? Especially and what we do. The last thing I want to do is get in the ring with someone that's unhappy about something.
Exactly. QT, so our Talking Shop fans there's massive AEW fans.
Massive.
Okay.
Yeah, they're massive wrestling fans, and I had put into word into our inner circle that we were having you on. And they were very pumped up about that. But for them, and for the ones that might not know what you do, since they're new to Talking Shop or new to even wrestling, because we've met a lot of new fans recently. If you don't mind, just dive into what you do at AEW, what your title is.
That was one of my questions for you, honestly, to ask you on the air as well, because I feel like you do so many things there. I didn't know how to even title you. So let's go into that.
And then, and was that always your, aspirations? Like when I saw you at Ring of Honor in 2012, were you thinking, I'd like to do this or that? I want to do something here, but let's, dive into it.
Yeah. I mean, I started as Cody Rhodes' assistant, making $500 a week.
Gotcha.
at AEW.
At AEW.
Yeah,
Yep.
at AEW, right.
Okay.
So,
And that
in
was
Ring
in
of Honor,
2019 when they opened up. Got it.
yeah, as soon as they opened up, he gave me a call, said, "Hey, can you come to Jacksonville?" And I was kind of shadowing at Ring of Honor, just learning as much as I could.
QT,
Because I didn't.
I'm sorry to cut you off. I just want to say,
Yeah.
why didn't you call us and bring us along and force our hands on that contract?
Yeah, I didn't know anything about
2019.
that, honestly. Honestly, I didn't know anything about any of those things. I heard about them later.
Of course.
It wasn't just you guys. There was a lot of guys that,
If somebody just should have grabbed my hand and signed that
Hell.
contract, my life would have my life's been beautiful, but who knows the difference it would have
the
been.
trajectory it would have taken, baby.
I might not have had 2 firings in 5 years.
Jesus. Well, like I said, I wasn't privy to all those conversations. I would have forced you to, but at the end of the
Thank
day,
you.
too, I think it is scary when a new company is starting, and especially if you've been around the wrestling industry for as long as we have, you hear it all the time. I mean, I signed to a company in 2010 that never did anything, and it was
Right.
the next big
thing.
the next big thing with contracts, and I had to. I think I spent more money on the lawyer looking it over. Obviously, because I didn't get $1, so anything I spent was going to be more than that. But I was
Sorry, you started with Cody. Yeah, please.
Yeah, well, I didn't think I was going to wrestle anymore, so I started shadowing at Ring of Honor and just learning as much as I could. All In happened. I went there because my student sang the national anthem at All In.
Okay.
So my wife and we drove up there from Atlanta to Chicago, 10 hours.
Wow.
I stayed at the Ring Crew Hotel. It was just hey, that I just want to help out or whatever I could do. Unfortunately, something happened with Joey Mercury. He couldn't work that day. So I got pulled off the bench, and I ran Gorilla for the first until Cody was done. And then unbeknownst to me, Cody, I guess, had told Brian Wittenstein, like, wherever I go, this guy's going to come with us. And, when AEW started, he offered me the gig. I took it because I didn't really have anything else at the time besides Home Depot overnight and Longhorn during the day and coaching during the midday.
Wow.
I didn't know this. I didn't know this. Keep going. This is great. This is good shit.
I have a hustler mentality. You know what I
do.
mean? And I tell my students now, even the ones there's a couple guys that are signed to AEW that get guaranteed money. It's not great money. It's developmental money.
Sure.
And they complain every now and then about money. And I tell them, dude, you're sitting home. Like, go Uber Eats, go do something. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
You don't have to not do anything else, right? You're choosing to do that. So, and
they just want $100,000. Give me $100,000, brother.
Yeah. And
then let
don't
me
use
sit
me on
here.
TV,
Yeah.
But I've always had that mentality. I grew up, not having as much money as we probably could have. So, I just was like, all right, well, I got to just hustle as much as I can. So, but anyway, when AEW started, I got there, and because it was a new company and I've already had so much experience in like opening restaurants and new businesses, I kind of knew that there was going to be nothing in place. Like it is what it is.
Yeah. You can help with the organization, if nothing else, out of the gate.
Right. And you could just do everything in your power to make yourself as valuable as possible. So I just started answering every question, doing as much as I possibly could, which led me to kind of going from Cody's, assistant to the EVP's assistants, which was Kenny and the Bucks. Then when the pandemic hit, I just became like Tony's right-hand man. Because at that point he kind of really took control of everything and no one else was doing it. And I was like, well, I'll do it. And then we really connected when the pandemic hit and they filmed out of the school in Norcross. That obviously saved them a boatload of money.
A lot of money.
And I think that because of that, that relationship with Tony and I it really, I think he's very thankful and loyal to me because of that, which is why I was able to, resign and come back, and our relationship is stronger than ever now.
Great.
But now I guess, like, for instance, we'll talk on the phone. He'll go over his creative plans that he's spoken to with all the other guys and so on and so forth. I kind of just put it on the paper. I time out the show with him and we kind of see what we have time for. And this way we don't promise anything to anybody. And then they get there and it's, Tony's really good about that. Like, we've never cut a wrestling match that's been Yes, which is unheard of.
That's unheard of. I mean,
Yeah, he'll call the network to get more time.
We have stood in Gorilla fully dressed, and they've gone.
Man,
yeah,
Even Lariato Pro has cut matches.
that's true. Well, there might have been some.
Hey boys, I know we said you're
involved.
I know we said you're booked, but anyways, you're not.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things I really, I think because Tony's such a fan and has heard these horror stories of these types of things.
Yeah.
That, like I said, he'll call the network and beg for an extra 6 minutes just to make sure that he doesn't have to, cut someone's time. Right.
That's highly
and that's
impressive.
just their time.
I don't know if that's ever been talked about publicly, but that's highly impressive.
That's the thing.
To have a boss go to bat for you like that, that's talking about trust, man.
Yeah.
Those are huge things.
I think, thank God that, he's a wrestling fan and that
Sure.
he was in the position to start this company because it has changed wrestling for the better for everybody.
For sure.
100%. Yeah, sweet Lord sent him down.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we used
For
to,
the boys.
We talk about that to this day with the Bucks. I would get on the New Japan bus and I go, boys, one day there'll be another WCW. It'll come back and it's going to be awesome. And then when AEW started, I remember we were joking about that. I said, I think WCW came back and it's going to be even better. Look at this.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
No, it was obviously for the business as a whole, it watered the hell out of that plant, right?
Right. For sure. And,
unbelievable.
and to see all the guys, like I said, I was at All In, and to see all these guys that, I'm not an independent wrestling, like I wasn't a tape trade or anything like that. So some of these guys I really never heard of
who they were.
I didn't. Yeah. Like Penta. I never saw Penta before, and seeing these guys on the big stage, like, man, these guys are special, and then but the biggest thing I took away from that whole show more than anything was the connection they had to that audience. And it was like, okay, this is a movement that they're selling. Right. Yeah. And what is that? And of course it's the same. The wrestling industry has gotten so much heat on these guys for so long that this is their comeback and they're just going to ride it till the end. You know what I mean? And it's like, which, as a business person, like I said, you have to connect to the audience. And that's really what I focus on with not just our show, but even at AEW is connecting with people, right? Like I got into a huge argument with my uncle once, who's a big time executive at UPS. And he wanted me to quit the wrestling stuff. That's what he would call it, the wrestling stuff.
Wrestling stuff. Yeah.
And he was like, your biggest attribute in life is the way you connect with people. Cause he used to come to Disney and he would watch me wait tables at Planet Hollywood, and he would see, he would sit in my section with his family and I'd be waiting on the tables next to him. And, these people that I just met an hour ago would get up and take pictures with me before they left. And he would so he always wanted to open a restaurant with me. And I think he just wanted a place to hang out and,
Sure, yeah.
But at the same time, he knew I could handle it. And I used to argue with him and we got in this major argument. But now when I look back, he's 100% right. Like what I do is I'm a people person. I'm a people person, damn it. No, I'm a people person, and being able to connect with all these talent, but at the same time, connect with the office and being that bridge, which is really what I think I do, is try to figure out how to sell the talent on these ideas or go back to the boss and figure out how to sell him on the ideas and just make sure everybody's happy, which is very, very, very difficult, but it's almost impossible.
It's almost impossible. You're in a pertinent position. And I feel like, with us and the systems we've been inside of before, some of our biggest frustrations were that there wasn't that go-between, because you don't always have full access. And I don't know how it works at AEW, obviously, but you always didn't have full access to Vince or to Hunter or to whatever. So it would have been really nice over the years to have somebody to bridge that gap. So I think
and somebody
that's a
that
huge help to people
you can trust
at AEW.
And someone,
and someone's not going to bullshit you.
Right. Right. And that's the biggest thing is, a lot of people might say that I'm a dick, but I'm not, I'm just honest. And because, the one thing about wrestling that always bothered me was that there weren't many honest people. And I feel like if we're going to go out there and tell the story that we tell, then in the back, and I learned this from Cody, honestly, in the back, we should just be honest with each other. Obviously, you have to be politically correct when you tell people things and so on and so forth. But like in Ring of Honor, for instance, when I first got signed, I thought, my career was going to take off, and then life happens, and no money and all these other things. And, I started to get out of shape and kind of let myself go a little bit. And if someone would have just pulled me aside and said, "Hey, what's going on with that belly?" Or just something, instead of just show up and then, "Hey, I'm booked to lose in 3 minutes. That's weird." Or maybe it's because I said something backstage and I just didn't understand what was going on and all of these things. So when I hear somebody say something that's going to get them heat, I'll tell them right away. And then Tony will always say, "Hey, remember, if I say to you, don't tell them this, I'm just venting. And for some reason you think this is you have to go tell them." And it's like, well, I want to tell them because if they're going to get in trouble or if something's bothering you, they should know. And then they should come and apologize to you. And it's a learning experience. And then hopefully they don't do it again. Because the last thing I want is for someone's career to just go like this because, they didn't do something that you wanted them to do. And that maybe they just didn't know either. Right. So
great point.
We've suffered from that in our own careers. We've even had the conversation recently with certain people that we've been around for years. Like if there could have just been some honesty here, I think that, or just tell us the truth. I think things could have gone
communication too.
Yeah. I remember, I got in trouble in 2008 in WWE as a young wrestler because, I wrestled The Undertaker and I was pumped about it. I was a 24-year-old kid and I went to talk to Vince to pitch another idea to further this little Festus character that I had. And I had no idea that I was supposed to go through talent relations before I spoke to Vince. So instead of coming and saying, "Don't do that again," and me being able to apologize, it looked like I jumped the shark. They took me off the road for 6 months. I had a new baby at home. I was just doing TV and making no money because of the way the system was then. And I just always thought, I really wish someone would have come and gone, "Drew, you're not allowed to do that. And here's why." And I would have said, "I'm sorry, I'll never do it again." But I didn't know. So like having somebody like you in that position's got to be such a help for especially younger wrestlers, because you don't know even if you know to go in and shake everybody's hand and say hello and etiquette is etiquette, you don't know those things and those protocols and that office shit. And it can get you in real trouble for sure.
Yeah. And you know what I realized, and this isn't a knock on any wrestling trainer because I was one of them. Most wrestling trainers open schools because they want to make money and they don't really have anything else going on. Right. And that's what they love. They're good carpenters like myself. But they've never done the actual job.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like,
that's
where hanging out with guys like Cody and Billy and just, I've been able to learn so much. And fortunately I was trained again by Bubba and Devon who got to actually go do that.
Who've done it. Yeah.
But a lot of the schools out there, they teach you how to wrestle, which is, you need that. Obviously, that is the foundation.
Way more than that too.
But you need to know all these ins and outs and have, and again, being able to pass that down to the kids that I have, it just helps out a lot because, man, like I know me personally, I've been in trouble so many times. I mean, Bubba used to call me a heat magnet and I didn't even know what it meant.
I can hear him saying that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just like, every little thing I did was wrong. And I didn't know why it was wrong. I was just being me. And that's unfortunately who I am and how I've grown up my whole life. And it never got me in trouble before. So why is it happening now?
Right. You need someone to tell you.
But yeah, at AEW, when I came back, we focused on, I was allowed to do.
You resigned. Why did you resign, QT?
So I resigned.
What year was that?
At the end of 2023.
Got it.
So I had an employee deal and then I had my wrestling contract. My wrestling contract, they obviously were at the same time. That ended January 1st of 2024. But I had to resign from the actual job itself or else, I didn't have to do it.
You're an employee and a 1099 would be the
right.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't have to do it publicly.
Gotcha.
I decided to do it publicly just to kind of get some buzz, right?
Sure.
And I did it the right way. I put out a very nice statement. I thanked everybody. A lot of people thought, they speculated it was because I was going to go to WWE because that's where Cody went.
Right.
Obviously there was, I did talk to them but it wasn't really about that. I wanted a little bit more and I didn't know what it was. Right. And whether it was obviously it could be wrestling, right? Like, hey, but I knew that WWE, that wasn't going to be the thing. I wasn't going to go there and, you know, debut at WrestleMania or the Royal Rumble or anything like that, just because I have the ability to self-assess, and which a lot of wrestlers don't, but I do. So I do understand, you know, what my value is. But also I wasn't going to move to Orlando. I wasn't going to, you know, so I just needed a break, I think, more than anything.
Yeah.
And I needed to just find out what was going to make me happy. And in those 2 months before, because I think I resigned in November, before January 1st, I had already talked to Tony again about coming back. And, you know, I think we met on like January 5th or something like that in Jacksonville. And I just told him I want to run my own wrestling show. You know, it's not something that's going to make me a lot of money, but it's a passion of mine. And he just told me like, well, why don't you come back to work? You could do both. And I was like, yeah, I probably could. And it would probably help out a lot. But he was like, you know, I could really use you back in the office. And I think if you're not focused on wrestling here, and he told me all the talent he was about to hire, Osprey and Mercedes and Okada and, you know, TV time and probably being a little scarce and losing Rampage and stuff. And so I said, well, if I go to work every week and I'm not worried about wrestling, I'll be okay. Cause then I don't have to, there's no pressure, right? I just, if I do a job, and what's the difference if I work here or I would go work at, you know, Publix, you know what I mean?
And you love wrestling. So
It's better to work at wrestling.
Yeah.
Right. And I love wrestling and I love every part about it. And, you know, and I went back knowing I wasn't going to wrestle. And then I did a couple dark matches with students just to kind of, or guys that I wanted to show Tony had a little bit more than what he was using them for. I thought they could give more. So I'd go out there and wrestle them just for fun.
Yeah.
And then the Costco thing happened.
Yeah.
You know, and that guy's a buddy of mine. So
yeah, explain how that came into fruition.
What's the
I think
Costco
people
thing?
who would be
Yeah.
really interested in that. Well, I'll let him explain.
Yeah. So,
he knows better than me.
yeah. So there was this guy on the Independents in New Jersey that his last independent show ever was my first independent show. And he kind of anointed me as like his successor. We always stayed in touch. We used the same meal prep company. And Sanjay actually was the one who said, hey, did you see this guy, AJ? He's really blowing up on TikTok.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I know that guy, you know? And he's like, well, let's see if we could get him to a show. Cause we're always thinking, we're trying to think outside the
sure. What
diehard
crossover
wrestling
can we have? 100%.
Right. And it was like, I know Tony's not really big on this kind of stuff, but this guy was a wrestler. So maybe, and because he does have the independent footage
And he's viral.
it might work out. So I pitched it to Tony. He wasn't sold at first. I pitched it to AJ. He wasn't sold at first. And I'm like, dude, you're a wrestler. You mean to tell me you don't want to wrestle in front of your hometown, in front of 10,000? Right. But it all, we ended up doing the match, and it was really good for the company. Really good for me. I got to wrestle in my hometown as well in New Jersey in front of 10,000 people.
Yeah.
I also got to, one of the biggest things Tony told me was, because the way I was booked, and I'm very unselfish in that manner. I never say no. I don't really care. Hey, put me out there. I like to get bounced around a couple times and just have fun. Right.
Yeah.
And I think it's good as a coach when they see your coach on TV doing the job that they want to do.
You're willing. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, but what I was able to do in that match was present myself a lot differently. Because to me, it was like Ready to Rumble, like this is like a movie.
Yeah.
This is fun. We're not making a mockery of wrestling, but we're also, it's not as serious as people need, they think it is. So I was able to do that, and that was a lot of fun. And I mean, he's still with us. I mean, it was supposed to be a one-off.
Yeah, that was the next thing.
Yeah.
Like he continues to do things.
Yeah. Tony signed him to a full-time contract.
I did not know that. That's great.
Yeah. Because, I think a lot of the stuff, that he does, as long as he's wearing an AEW shirt when he does it, it's brand awareness,
It's brand awareness. Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, I don't really wrestle as much, but I got to wrestle Jay Lethal at Ring of Honor, at the Hammerstein, which was,
cool.
To me, the only time I ever wrestled at Hammerstein was like 2 minutes, and I had flown myself in and I lost money and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of negative
feeling. Yeah.
Very rewarding, to to have a really good match and have those fans, those are like some of the hardest critics that you're ever going to have.
100%.
But now I've kind of developed this thing where I'm like the celebrity guy, like I wrestled Paul Walter Hauser at the last
Right.
Ring of Honor pay-per-view. And he wanted to do some like hardcore deathmatch style
Yeah, he does
stuff.
crazy shit, right?
Yeah, he does. But you know what? I think it helped me out as well because a lot of those fans, they never saw any of the stuff I did in Mexico.
Sure.
So I just don't think when you see me and you see the style that I do, that you're thinking that I would put myself through that kind of stuff because genuinely I hate it, But of course, we're all wrestlers. We'll do whatever we have to do.
We'll do whatever we have to do to get on the screen. We'll talk about that a little bit too. That's something I didn't even have that in the notes, but we've seen JBL do it now, go down to Mexico and get a ton of heat. But I feel like before he did it, you were down there in the red, white, and blue trunks, and you guys had a ton of heat. What was that experience like?
Yeah, Conan and I, we always used to talk, and he saw something in me that I think I saw, but no one else was seeing. And he said, "Hey, let me try to help you. I think this will help you at AEW. I think this will help your career." And he put me in again, going back to AEW and Tony, lets you do as long as you follow the rules.
Yeah.
He'll let you do a lot of stuff on the outside, right?
Which is really cool.
And
Yeah, it's wild.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because of the position I was in, I was able to get myself to Mexico through AEW, through Miles and all this other stuff.
Yep.
And Conan was able to compensate me, but it was more about, hey, what are we going to do? And he pitched this whole idea with Penta, and it was like, and I guess Penta went to bat for me.
Cool.
And to me, it was like, okay, this is one of the top stars.
Yeah.
So if we're going to do something, and then I guess something happened with Phoenix at the time, he relinquished his title. So I ended up winning the title there, the Latin American title.
Yeah.
And one of my goals was I had seen this title was vacated so many times because I guess a lot of guys get it from the other, from
In and
America.
out.
They can't come back and all these things. So I went on this tour where I would just get myself booked on every independent show I possibly could. And I would tell the promoter,
right?
yeah, just don't worry about paying me. Give me whatever you can. I'm going to get myself there. I just want to defend this as much as I possibly can. And it was good. And then, Penta left. So it was a little, kind of kibosh the storyline a little bit. And I lost the belt. And then I realized, okay, I'm not really focusing on wrestling as much when it comes to the big stage. So this relationship doesn't need to continue, which it worked out better for them too, now that they were bought by WWE, which then it couldn't continue. But I've talked to Rocky about going to CMLL and potentially doing stuff there. But with the schedule I have right now, and
I'm go, brother.
Right. And it's not as important as it was 2 years ago, but yeah, I mean, I had so much fun going down there and being the heel that could speak a little bit of Spanish and cut a promo and just, it's old school, which is, right up my alley.
It looked fun. It just looked fun. All the clips I saw and the reactions you guys were getting down there, I was like, those guys are having a great time. And anytime you're in the middle of a run anywhere and you're enjoying yourself, I think it comes through. As
we were
and it's better, man.
We were just in Mexico. What was the city?
We were in Juarez for Lucha
Juarez.
Yes,
We were just in Juarez, Mexico, a couple weeks ago, and we did something, and we started hugging each other, man, and they started fucking going.
Great.
The people were going nuts, and it was so much fun to hear the crowd just yelling at us for hugging and being sad with each other. It was that's the kind of stuff that
our butts.
after all the cool things that we've done, and it's the thing that's gotten me off the most in the last 7-8 months was just hugging Gallows in the ring and hearing the people go, "Oh, boo!"
Yeah. It's so simple,
we
make it so much more difficult than it needs to be.
No, it's so great. QT, as a Talking Shop debut, I appreciate you for getting up in the morning and coming in and doing this as it is. Are you an early morning guy?
For the most part, I mean, I get 4 or 5 hours at most of sleep. So
I gotta know though. So you like you said you were out of shape. You gained weight here and there.
Yeah.
You got ripped. I'm a big proponent of intermittent fasting. I just met a fan last week, this past week, that ran up to me and told me that I saved his life from talking about
Okay.
intermittent fasting on the podcast, and all these dumb things you do, all these dumb things that we've said when we're on podcasts, or
Yeah.
just, I don't know, and I shouldn't say dumb, just random things you talk about you don't realize can change people's
affects
lives.
people. Yeah.
It can truly change. It was like, it was really, really cool to hear that. But what did you do to get in shape, good brother?
Consistency, right?
Yeah.
So I'm the type of person, unfortunately, that I need something. I need a goal.
Yeah.
Because I grew up heavy. I like eating candy. I like eating ice cream, all these things. I like eating
Yeah.
in general,
Yeah.
like all of us.
I think everybody does, right? Yeah.
And it was just, okay, I'm not really wrestling right now. It's something I've always like loved, was like, the bodybuilders, like just the way that, like superheroes, and it was like, I wonder if I could do this. And I mentioned it to Billy when we were working out together. And I should have never done that, because in that time period, I decided I wasn't going to do it. And then he kind of forced me to do it. And it was like, okay. So then I took it a lot more seriously. I had a coach, Furlan, who lives down in Orlando. Billy was my training partner. We just, my wife, thank God, she was helping me out a lot when it came to my meals and so on and so forth. And it was like, I'm just going to give it a shot and see what happens, and I got down to like 197, which when I got on stage, I haven't been 197 since I'm like 11 years old. You know what I mean? Like, so I looked phenomenal. And luckily I wrestled one of my students that week in Canada, because his match on our student showcase, something happened with the camera, so it didn't get filmed. So I felt terrible.
Chop issue.
Yeah, so I felt terrible. So we went to Calgary, and I told him, "Hey, I'll wrestle you at Ring of Honor." And we just did it dark. We never aired it, but man, I looked phenomenal. And I was like, man, if I would have looked like this my whole career, who knows what would happen?
Trust me, I've had a couple, like, I was like, dude, I'm having these bangers I had like a 30-minute match with Tanahashi and Hiroshima. I had some like badass, I've had some, like, a lot of people would consider dream opportunities inside like Ryogoku Sumo Hall, with like singles matches with Okada and Goto and Kojima. And I did all those things. And I always wish that like I would have just been a little more ripped. I was like, fuck, what if I'd have been like ripped during these times? Like, I mean, I had, and like, I got to say, I watch them back, and I mean, the matches were, just like you said, you looked phenomenal. The matches that I was having were phenomenal. And but so that might've been why I just was like, fuck it. I'm still rocking and rolling. I don't need to get ripped. But I look back and I just wish I would have, like, it would, who knows where things, I'm proud and happy with where my career has gone, but I just wonder, I still take my head back to what if I would have been, what if, right? And it's
of course. It's funny you say that about like the things that we talk about. So during the pandemic, I wrestled Brody Lee in his first match, at AEW, and Cody was on commentary, and he asked me like, "Hey, do you mind if because you shaved your head," which I did because I had a hair transplant.
Yeah.
He was like, "Do you mind if I mention this?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't give a shit. Like, whatever, mention it, So he did. And actually, one of the guys that has become a pretty close friend of mine now, it was because of that, because he messaged me on Twitter. He asked about the hair transplant. Now he's had multiple hair transplants, and like, he credits me with like saving his life,
See?
And
it's a confidence booster.
And that, like, I'm one of those people that when people ask me about it, I'm like, well, yeah, you can get it done. Like, of course I'm going to brag about it, because if you look at me also, like, if you look at me 5 years ago, now you look at me, like, obviously things that, it's not,
there's been quite a transformation.
And it's like,
things are going good.
I thought you guys were making fun of me with the no teeth Austin because of, my pearly whites,
No, not at all. That's just the character.
No, he's just an actual character. And we used to be, this podcast was based on hammeredness. And now, we do it in the morning, and I'm a completely sober guy. So we don't do it. So, but we're still the same humans, right? So
of course.
I got to say our editor, our production guy, D Money, who you may have met in passing.
One of our production guys,
yes. Sometimes like you look younger, you look phenomenal, and D Money looks good too. But I just was not prepared. I hadn't seen D Money in a while.
Where's this going?
And I walked in, we're released and we're gonna do this Lariato thing, and I walked into the before the 90 was up, we ran a show in March with JBL. We had a big show in Dublin. It was great. But I walked in and I saw D Money for the first time. And I remembered D Money kind of looking a little like me in the hair department. And he had a full blown Vince McMahon 1995 pompadour of hair. And I physically sold for him because
they filled
he
in
was
the
not
front,
the kind of man that I figured would go and do this. And he looked great.
Well, I'll say this, QT. You've now inspired me because at Halloween sometimes I'll put a brother wig on or something and put a hat over it. And as I'm going around with the kids and I'm doing it, and people know me or don't know me, I feel like they're looking at me and they're looking at me for my great head of hair. And I've had, and this is not just talking on the podcast. I've truthfully had dreams, probably let's say between 10 and 20 of them, where I'm just putting my hands through my hair,
just have luscious
and I've got long, like luscious hair, man. And then I wake up and go, oh, man.
I'll set you up with the guy. He's his name is Mike.
Yeah.
He's a great guy, and he took care of me. I mean, for free.
I feel like we're too follically challenged, though, QT. You had more.
It all depends.
We're not LG. Speak for yourself, bub.
Yeah, it's really about your donor hair on the sides. So if you can grow out, but I mean, I could set you up.
I don't know if I can go back to the Festus Skullet, boys.
I don't know, man. How incredible would it be if the Machine Gun came out, took his?
You just have Bret Hart.
Took his mask on. I got beautiful long hair. I don't know, man.
You'd be such an asshole, so overconfident. It'd be great.
As we wind down, QT, man, I appreciate you for coming in. I really do. Good luck with everything that you're doing, and please, explain how everyone can find you and find the company that you're running. Is there one last question I have? Is there independent wrestling competition in Georgia with Gallows and QT and everyone else? Laser, because Laser's trying to take the promotion from Gallows, let alone.
Hey, Laser listens to this, okay? No, but I'll tell you this: there's definitely independent wrestling competition in Georgia because everybody hates me for running shows because they say that I'm a TV guy and I'm not really independent. I go, I'm just trying to have a nice show. I don't know what all the hate is. But anyway.
Right. Yeah. The competition with everyone else, I don't know. Kind of like, and Drew had a school as well, but like when I had the school, it was the same thing. It was like, I'm just going to do what I do.
Right.
And going back to what you said earlier, I'm just going to do it anyway. Like that's kind of when I first opened the school, you guys didn't have a school at the time. Neither did Heath. It was just AR Fox.
Oh, Heath's school. My God.
And it was just AR Fox. And I reached out to Fox before I moved down. And also there was another guy who had a school at the time. I reached out to both of them and I said like, hey, I'm moving here. This is what I plan on doing. I'd love to work together because I know what I'm going to end up doing. And I think it can be really cool. And, and they were like, nah, Fox was really cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I just stay in my own lane. Don't worry about me, blah, blah, blah. The other guy, he was kind of rude. He said, because I said something about like, well, I'd rather work together than compete,
Yeah.
And he said, well, who's talking about competition? And I was like, okay. So needless to say, he was not running a school in about 6 months after that conversation. But when it comes to the independent shows, no, for me, there's no competition in the sense of I'm not looking at what anyone else is doing. I'm sure they're running their shows, they're doing a great job, but I just kind of focus on what we do. When it comes to, Lariato, we actually spoke the other day about something that is, I'm the champ, right? And I defended the title on my own show,
which is great.
And we recorded it. And because I can't, unfortunately, I don't have the schedule where I could just say yes to every single date. Right. Again, I'd love to help as many as we could. And obviously there's a give and take with that. But we did speak about something that, that we're going to do in December, right?
I was going to ask you, and we're on air and you're talking about it. So I'll let you do it.
Can we announce it now?
I think we should.
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah. So, and this was your idea
too, QT. I don't know if you know that or not, but I'm coming.
You're already on the flyer, pal. So watch your mouth.
There you go. Hey, he sends it with me on the flyer. I'm like, all right.
Speaking of, I think I need an actual photo that you guys own.
I was gonna say to you, can we please send you at least an updated shot of us
please.
That we own? That would be great.
Yeah, that was just a a rough draft. Let's
An
put it that way.
example. An
That's
example.
perfect.
Is an example. There you go.
Yep.
But yeah, this was your idea, Gallo. So I'm going to give you all the credit. You know, we had a meeting the other day and we were talking about, you know, you have this great show in Dublin that you do, with a huge crowd and a lot of sponsors. And one of the things I'm not the best at is, you know, selling my show or just going and talking to people. One of
the hardest things is sponsorship
not easy.
acquisition. You and I have talked
Right.
about this before we even partnered to do anything with
Yeah.
sponsorship acquisition. We do have to give credit to the great Laser in Dublin. He's very
For sure.
respected in the community. He's the champion of sponsors there. When we go into some of these other areas and I have to do it on my own, I do struggle. So we
Sure.
had this idea to basically have a professional wrestling business mixer to bring some of our sponsors together and to let other people see what's going on and what One Fall is and the tremendous opportunity with Peachtree TV. So that'll be Tuesday, December the 9th in McDonough, Georgia, the Dalton Carpet 1FW Arena, 1380 South Zach Hinton Parkway in McDonough, Georgia, right up the road from where I live, right down the road from where you live. We'll both be there. The Good Brothers will be there. Of course, QT Marshall, the great Billy Gunn, on loan from AEW, which will be in town in Atlanta on December 10th and following night for Dynamite. We have the great Harley Cameron coming to town. So this is it's an opportunity for it's a business mixer, I would call it, for local business owners to get together to kind of get to know us. And, you know, to me, the benefit of professional wrestling, as hot as professional wrestling has become right now, you know, I run another business too, and I have seen what advertising works and what fails. And sadly, things like radio are kind of ancient now. And that was something where I went, man, I should have shifted my focus and put that towards something else. But I think that the opportunity to be on television, be part of Peachtree TV, be part of One Fall, and be seen by this vast growing audience with all this crossover stuff that we talk about, it's a great opportunity for businesses to come along and work together. So that'll be an exciting thing. We'll talk about it. We're sitting here in October. We got plenty of time until December the 9th, but it's good to get the word out there now. And yeah, there's a contact on here for partnership details or to RSVP. Oh boy, let's see.
Yeah, it's me. That's me.
I was really loading that up, and then I went,
Yeah. No, we might change that. Don't worry about it. But
yeah,
we'll
put it out. We'll announce it.
Yeah, we'll have it on socials, and I'm sure we can throw it on the 1FW website, the Facebook.
Oh, for sure.
We'll have it on our X accounts, on our Instagram, and it's a great opportunity to come in and if nothing else, you get to meet some wrestling stars, bring the kids. It'll be a family friendly event, obviously. So yeah, it's a mixer, baby.
Yeah, it's a mixer. AEW's in town the next day, so maybe we'll give some tickets away or something. One of the things that I spoke to our marketing team about was the idea that AEW's coming. We have 2 months, and I have about 20 shows in between now and then.
If I could have 40 before it happens.
Yeah, and if I could get 2 to 4 tickets per show that I could give away,
that's great.
It really, because honestly, some of these people, they're Southern wrestling fans.
Yes.
And they remember WCW.
They sure do.
But watching them go up to guys like Billy and say, do you still wrestle? It's like, that means that they don't know about AEW.
It's a question that we all hate, to be honest.
So it's
still
like,
doing that? Yes.
I mean, hell, I travel with Shivani and people still ask him to this day if he's still on wrestling. So
that's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, I think, the marketing that we do in AEW is very
different than
specific.
WCW, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of, again, trying to get that word out there. And if we're not going to sell out the building, which College Park isn't overly huge, but again, we might not sell it out. It's a great building. Yep. And it was awesome when we ran there the first time. So one of my goals is, we partnered with for One Fall, the Athens Rock Lobsters, which is their hockey team.
Gotcha.
So we're going to be doing a show there November 30th. It's like, we'll be doing it on the concourse, I guess, like right before the game, I think.
That's great.
Yeah. So it'll be like an hour and a half or something. But my goal is to one day run that building. Yeah. Because a lot of our shows are up in Athens. And I feel like if we could get the community involved and they see what's going on. And again, I look at, the only thing I will say about other independent shows, I do look at the ticket pricing.
For sure. Me too.
Because I'm curious
Yeah.
what other places charge.
Yeah.
And we've always been a family, $10,
Very
15 for front row, 5 for kids, which isn't, great when you're trying to make money. But
No.
when you're trying to pack the place, it helps out a lot.
When you're trying to pack the place, and it is giving back to the wrestling fan, because this topic's come up on here, and it's come up at every show we've been on, and we've been on a hell of a lot of shows lately.
Yeah.
The TKO model, it's pricing some families out, and
Right.
when those, if you got a working class dad with 2, 3, 4 kids, by the time they buy those tickets, they come in. Somebody wants a hot dog, they want a souvenir. I mean, people can't spend $10,000 on that. So, but if you can go out for under $100, get 2 hours of family friendly entertainment, you can get something to eat, you can get a t-shirt, whatever you pick up while you're there, have that whole fan experience. I think that's the wrestling community giving back to the actual community, and it's good for both sides. So that's a huge positive.
Yeah. And I genuinely believe when business owners see that, the smart ones, at least, that really want to get their brands out there, and
Right.
they're more willing to, I always said this. My wife actually just asked me yesterday about the tickets for our TV taping.
Yeah.
If I'm going to ever sell them. And I said, no, I'm always going to give them away. And only because we only put 200 chairs, 250 chairs.
Yeah.
So if we sell, all of those tickets at $10 a ticket, it's only $2,500, which
Right.
sounds like a lot, but I feel like I could get $2,500 in sponsors,
I 100% agree.
where I
that
can
becomes-
keep it
yeah.
for free,
Yeah.
give those companies a television commercial,
Yep.
on Peachtree Sports in Georgia, where it'll help out their business as well. And everyone just works together.
It's
and again,
huge. Yes,
I
it's a
think
huge opportunity.
yeah, that's kind of my whole business model. And fortunately, because like I said, going back to being able to work at AEW, we're in that position that I'm not trying to, pick up every single dollar I possibly can at the
You're not
moment.
trying to carny every buck you can get, which is a good thing when you're giving back to the consumer all the way.
Yeah, it's hard. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
I know I could do it.
You have the instinct, but you're not a plumber.
Yes, I have the instinct. We all do. But I think this is a better business model.
Sure.
And like I said, it's been working out so far, and I'm excited for what's to come. And
Well, QT, you work alongside one of Talking Shop's own. We've tried to buy him out. We've
we've unsuccessfully tried.
we've basically fired him.
but we can't.
But we can't. But because we're doing like what you said, we're doing to Rocky what you said you want to change in the business is we're not being honest with
We're
Rocky.
not being honest with Rocky,
Yeah,
yeah.
we want to fire him, but we don't know how to go
Publicly
about it.
doing it behind his back.
Yeah.
If that makes
yeah,
sense.
We're doing
I'll
it
tell him
behind
at
his back.
TV.
Yeah,
I'll
let
just
him
tell
know.
him at TV.
We very nicely said, "Hey, man, we'll buy you out of this." He goes, "No, let me
And
be."
and he said no, and we went, well,
"Yeah." We're like, "Huh? Well, what do you mean? What do you mean? No." So me and
Yeah,
Gallows
where
are side
is he?
texting.
He's not on the show.
No, he's
not
never
here.
on the show. We
No,
try
he's
to
never
force
on the show.
sale. He doesn't pop in here.
Yeah, so we've fired him since he's moved on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well-
He moved on from us, so we're saying we fired him.
Yeah. He moved
Okay,
on
well-
from us, and we've in turn moved on from him. But he
Right.
won't let
Yeah.
us.
That's
He won't
right.
sign the release papers.
He won't fully allow it. Is the problem?
Well, I will say he will be here on October 30th. He will be at the.
Okay.
We're going to be doing a show at the Speedway in Hampton
Okay.
for Darby Allen, for him to kind of get his skate park out there to the masses. And I know he has
Very
a commercial
cool.
about it. And yeah, him and Tony Hawk are building a skate park in McDonough.
Which is awesome. And
which is-
fortunately, because
You guys will be somewhere.
I asked you to participate in this as well.
Oh yes,
Yeah, we'll be at Fourth Rope. We'll be at Six Flags over New Jersey for Halloween Horror. And unfortunately, as much as I would like to carny a double shot, I just don't think the travel will work.
It's not gonna
between
work.
Jersey and the Hampton Speedway, the Atlanta Motor Speedway here in Georgia.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, we won't be able to be there and insult Rocky and try to buy him out again. Which
I was gonna say,
we
well,
have
what
the
I'll do is
capital to buy him.
I'll
out
hold
now.
him hostage when he
Yeah,
gets here.
perfect.
Yeah,
make
you know
sure
what, QT? You know what? You can have him.
Rocky's the greatest. I always say I want to be like Rocky when I grow up.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know, I thought I was doing a good job of balancing everything and
Rock
playing.
has
every
9
side I
jobs.
could.
He has 9 jobs.
Yeah,
Man,
he's
phenomenal.
not doing a good job he's doing a great job but he's not doing a good job of balancing talking shop with all of his other jobs.
He's great in Japan. He's great in Mexico. He's great in AEW, and he has failed the talking shop audience.
Yeah. You talk about forgetting where you came from.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't like to hear this about Rocky. I'm going to, Rocky.
Maybe you can get in his ear a little bit for us.
Yeah.
No. Don't get in his ear. Don't need to hear. We don't need to hear from him.
It's funny because in the next couple of weeks, you'll see how this all plays out. But I think he's going to be one of the guys that maybe I get in the ring with if I decide. We've already seen this on the other side, but if AJ can find a partner, there's a chance that it'll be Rocky and Trent versus Big Boom AJ and a partner of his choosing. We haven't figured out who that partner is.
I think I know who he might be privy to in this scenario.
But at the same time, the match will be a year from the singles match that him and I had in the same building. So I don't really like the guy.
Sure.
So I'm not sure if I want to help him out yet.
But, Rocky or AJ?
Both.
Well, clearly both.
but AJ more than anybody,
Right. Gotcha.
My big homecoming, him and his son. His son speared me, the whole deal.
Yep.
So
both of his sons are out there parading around. Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, who knows what could happen. But if I do get in the ring with Rocky, I'll make sure to give him an extra stiff one for talking shop.
Please,
well, I had to say, as much as we like to bury Rocky on here, I'd hate to admit how great he is inside the ring. But
he is great in the ring.
We won't tell him any of that. QT, thank you for coming in. I appreciate you.
Sure.
The talking shop world appreciates you. Big LG appreciates you, and anything closing you want to say to our people, your people, throw it out there, where they can find you or anything like that, besides of course watching AEW Dynamite and Collision where you are running the show, right?
Yeah.
Tony
Sorry, you're
helping,
more
power than Rocky. Grab that.
You're helping put
all the
Tony
big sites.
You're putting Tony's vision out there to the world. That's what you're doing. You're helping
more so than Rocky Romero, 100%.
Much more
than Rocky. More than Rocky. In fact, when Rocky, real quick, I'll tell you, I was gone when Rocky got hired.
He tried to snake in behind you. I see what happened.
And Tony actually called me and told me, "Hey, I just want you to know, Rocky's not going to take your job. I still have room for you to come back." And I was like, "Okay,
great."
I wasn't thinking that, but now I am.
Well, now you see how he is. Yeah.
But no, he's great to work with, and it's sad to hear that he's not doing his part on Talking Shop,
honoring his commitments.
Yeah, but you can. I mean, I'm on social as, I think Real QT Marshall or QT Marshall. I'm not big on it. I just kind of repost and stuff like that. I'm obviously being too busy, but, and I'm not good at that stuff anyway. But, One Fall Wrestling,
OneFallWrestling.com.
It's OneFallWrestling.com, right?
I think it's just 1FW Live.
1FWLive.com. Google it, guys. Just give it a Google. You'll find it.
Give it a shot. Check us out on Peachtree Sports Network, 8 p.m. if you're in Georgia. Triller at 6:30 on Wednesdays as a lead in the AEW Dynamite.
Great.
But yeah, that's about it. I really appreciate you guys having me on anytime. Like I said, I love to talk. I love to talk shop,
Yes.
So
Perfect.
whenever I could, help out and get on here and, even promote as whatever I can or just shoot the shit, I said, I really enjoy it.
Hey, this is the only way we have friends anymore. We have to talk them into coming into Talking Shop, and then
there you go.
And then here we are. Here's our buddies.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
December the 9th, Tuesday night, leading into the big AEW show in College Park, Georgia, here right outside of Atlanta. We're going to have the Networking Knockout, a business owner's mixer, the Good Brothers, QT Marshall, Billy Gunn, Harley Cameron. Who knows who else will show up? Come and hang out with us. I'm sure we would love to have you in the shop again. Before then, we'll be talking more about this as it approaches in early December.
Yep, One Fall Wrestling. Check it out. Thanks, QT.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Good Brother Corn.